Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another INART 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Now today, yes, we are taking a look at the Joker based off his appearance in The Dark Knight. For those thinking, Justin, you've already reviewed this thing. Yes, I know I've reviewed the deluxe rooted hair 2-pack version, but for those of you out there who got the single pack version, this is that, the sculpted hair one. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, I will try not to reference the deluxe rooted hair 2-pack version too much because I know you're here to see this one. But compared to that 2-pack version, this box is a lot more normal in size. We do have TDK, the Joker, up front, and I dig the translucent purple, although it is super high gloss, therefore quite reflective. On the side of the box, Queen Studios as well as some warnings. On the back of the box, a bunch of lines, but actually no, it's a kind of trippy optical illusion. If you slide the box around as it peeks through the various lines, you can see some wording. And of course that wording is "Why so serious?" Then again, removing that cover completely spoils the illusion. You can see the wording plain as day and it says exactly that, "Why so serious?" plus a question mark. On the other side of the box, the INART logo, that's where it was hiding. Down below we do have Queen Studios and INART once again. If you're sitting there thinking, hey Justin, why is the Queen Studios logo here? Isn't this an INART product? Yes, it is, but don't forget Queen Studios and INART, they both operate under the same parent company. Think Toyota and Lexus. I know, a bad analogy, but you get the idea. We also have Standard Edition and the Joker. Then, in the middle, some pretty interesting artwork. Apparently this was done by a relatively well-known artist overseas, and I dig it. It's kind of funky. We've got the Joker's head sculpt in 2 different sizes, and the metallic foil logos are a nice touch. Also, this shape is the INART logo, as you can see, but it's also the shape of the deluxe rooted hair 2-pack packaging, an Easter egg, if you will. Up top platinum and A001. Now if you're wondering, how does the box open? It's simple, it's held on with a magnet. We do have a literature packet up top, then nestled in foam is the Joker himself. Now I have reviewed the prototype for this guy, but I'm pretty curious to see how the final version will compare. And first in-hand impressions, this guy is pretty weighty, and he looks good. What we are going to do now though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. It's circular, relatively compact, the diameter isn't crazy, but it is kinda tall. So yes, I still classify this display base as centerpiece style. Around the front, a cracked Batman logo with a wash so it stands out. And around the other front, another logo that says The Dark Knight Joker. Yes, you can display it either way, because it's a circle and there's no crotch grabber. We do have some sculpted in grout lines for some tiled flooring up above. I'm fairly certain this is supposed to mimic the flooring from the mob scene in the kitchen, but I could be wrong. I like the speckling of dirt and grime and the washes in the grout lines, so once again, just like that logo, they stand out. If you are concerned about attaching him to the base though, don't be. The magnets are in the center where this light spot is, and they're pretty darn strong. I have seen some people tip the Joker upside down, and he's still held fast in position. Now that I've said that, you watch. People are going to say in the comments, "Justin, Blizzard test, why didn't you try it?" Well, I'm really scared to. Joker's body is heavy and my shaky hands, he's probably going to come toppling off that base upside down. It's a lot of pressure to put on those magnets because they're kinda small. So for me, I'm just going to stick with Joker being displayed the right way up. As for his Smith & Wesson submachine gun, it's real metal. You can fold out the stock and all of the markings are present. We've got the fire select switch and also branding for Smith & Wesson. You can remove the magazine, which is also metal, plus up top some metal bullets. You can slide the spring-loaded mechanism back and peep the bullets up on top. Gonna try and start to pick up the pace here. Glock 17, removable metal magazine with bullets. Proper branding for Glock and Glock 17 on the slide. You can also move the slide back, it's spring-loaded. Now if you are having issues with the magazine being slightly loose, try pushing it in, then grabbing the top with your forefinger and pushing it up with your thumb a little bit harder, and now it should sit in position. For some smaller accessories, we do get some handcuffs and his teeny tiny little knife. There is a clip on the back, which is a real clip, so if you wanted to, you could clip it on his belt. A little bit daggy, but totally works. You can also extend up the blade, and the blade, even though it looks like metal, isn't. It's made of plastic. The handcuffs, though, they are metal. There's a real metal chain in the middle, and the teeth on the handcuff sections, they're ratcheted. So when you clamp them around Joker's seamless forearms, it's pretty secure. I don't want to spend too long on the grenades here and now, because when we get Joker out here, popping them in the coat is way more exciting. The string is purple, there's a die-cast loop up above for his thumb to go through, and all of the grenades are individual sculpts, and they're also die-cast. The printing is accurate to real-life grenades, and I dig the variety of shapes here. I'm glad they're not all the same, because accuracy is the name of the game here. Those grenades, to me, they look spot on. We do, of course, get Joker's fat stacks, multiple lots of $10,000, $100 bills all bound together, and they are printed on each side for every single bill. And you do get quite a few of them, so if you wanted to, you could take all the bills out and litter it absolutely everywhere, all over the display base, causing chaos. Very Joker-esque. We do also get multiple Joker cards. In fact, it's a pretty stacked deck of all Jokers. They are different prints on both sides, made of sturdy cardstock. I would show you them all, but trying to wrangle them on camera is very challenging. They're tiny. So when you get yours in hand, there's a few Joker cards for you to discover. One of my favorite new innovations with INART, seamless forearms. These things are so cool. The sculpted in skin texture, the wrinkling, the vein work, and the paint applications are truly next level. They look like shrunk down mini hands. I mean, the pulling of the skin down here and just below his thumb, it's kinda creepy. If you're thinking though, oh no, you're so restricted with posing, well, you do get some normal hands as well. They have picked some very specific Joker-esque poses for the seamless forearms, and to me, they absolutely work. Normal hands, did you say? Yes, he comes with some purple gloved hands. How could he not? It's Joker. I also love the wrinkling here. I mean, again, that looks so real. We've got some stitching sculpted in. It genuinely looks like the gloves are a little bit baggy and his fingers are underneath, but they're not. They're all sculpted. There are some washes in the crevices, but it is subtle. And there's also some leather grain texture on the surface, plus some silver for the press stud and the buckle. These hands, they're awesome. What we are going to do now, though, is get the Joker himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. That stuff comes a little bit later. As does the answer to the question, Justin, is this better, on par, or worse than the prototype version you already reviewed? You will want to stay tuned, because that answer might not be what you're expecting. Just standing there though, this guy is so impressive. He's got a all-new custom body specific to the Joker with this kind of hunch forward built in. It looks like a real shrunk down Heath Ledger in 1/6 scale. The way the outfit hugs and hangs on the body, the fact that the colors look kind of muted and on point to the screen accurate look at the same time, all checks from me. Then the icing on the cake, that head sculpt. You can tell that even from a distance, that is the Joker through and through. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Joker's head sculpt. And the first word that comes to mind is, whoa, this head sculpt is very good. The likeness to Heath Ledger is there from every angle. The sculpting of the scars on point, skin texture, paint applications, the hairstyle, all ticks from me. What was that? Be specific? Okay, I will. I dig the fact that you can see some skin poking through the makeup on the forehead. You can also see some white paint on the hairline, because this is Joker. He's applying his face paint. It's going to go everywhere. It's not going to be all clean and tidy. There is some shading in the hairline, so you can see a bit of scalp poking through. And the hair itself is very layered. There are multiple different strands, and Queen Studios did release a video showing these strands are kind of posable. If you want, you can separate them, heat them with a hairdryer, and when they cool down, they will set in position. If you're wondering, ooh, what about the moving eye system? Well, it's a single joystick. For those worried about them getting out of alignment, so far mine have been perfectly fine, always in alignment. So when you move the joystick, as you can see, his eyes can move around, which does make for some very dynamic and more interesting posing options. I know, I breezed over the eye alignment thing, but for a lot of people, it's a big issue because the eyes are the soul of the head sculpt. So if one's wonky, it throws the entire thing off. There is this retaining bracket on the inside though, so I don't reckon the eyes are going anywhere. I reckon the alignment is going to be spot on. I'm yet to see one that looks overly funky. Mine have been all really good. The jacket around the back has this kind of velvety-like texture, and there is a bunch of weathering on the seams and on the edges. Plus, down below, you have some wiring. Now, for those thinking, ooh, what's the wiring good for? Well, posing, for one, but also, with the jacket, you want it to hang naturally, so you can kind of cup it around his leg to lock the jacket in position, because the last thing you want is the jacket to be splayed out like this, which I've genuinely seen some people do. If that floats your boat, all the power to you, but if you want it to look as good as possible, cup it around the leg and it will drape a lot better. I can already tell some people are going to be so mad at me and say, Justin, how dare you tell us how to pose our jackets? We will do it as we will. And yes, you will, but I was just trying to help. I want to give you as many tools in your posing tool belt as I possibly can, so that when you get yours in hand, you can make him look as good and as screen accurate as possible. Spending a little bit more time on the purple jacket though, around the front, it's just as stunning as the back. We've got some faux buttons, some real working pockets, you can pop some money in there if you so choose, and on the inside, that gorgeous metallic orange lining. We do have a spot for the grenades, and yes, you will see them in there, don't worry. Around the top, the lapels are magnetic, so they will sit in position, a nice touch. And you can futz with the shoulders. The best way I've found to do it, because they do tend to buckle depending on your posing, is to grab the edges and pull them out just a little. It'll help you shape them and give him that stoop forward like he had in the film. Speaking of the stoop forward though, it is already kinda baked in because his neck connector is at an angle. Then for the sleeves, they are nice and straight. And it's worth noting the jacket material is very thin. So it does drape, just like we were discussing down here, really well. It's also split around the back, so you can see that orange lining, and his suit jacket poking through. Something that isn't really an issue on the rooted hair version, but could be with this one, is the sculpted hair colliding with the various layers. Because with the rooted hair one, it's real hair, it moves out of the way. Whereas with sculpted, it can't, it's a solid piece of plastic. So what I would suggest doing is pulling the jackets back, tucking the hair in for maximum range of motion. If you do, however, want the hair on the outside, it could catch and get in your way just a little. On the underside of the jacket, he has another jacket. It's his grey suit. The buttons aren't real, but the pockets are, and it's fully lined, plus very thin. Look how thin that is. No wonder it drapes and hugs the body so well. He also has his green vest on, and it is missing a button, just like in the movie. Plus, everything is weathered. The purple coat, the grey jacket up here on the lapels, and his vest is quite filthy. Underneath the vest, he of course has his shirt and tie. Plus, there are some hidden suspenders that you wouldn't normally see, but maybe we'll be able to see them when we have the seamless forearms on. I would also suggest tucking in the top part of the collar underneath the little vest. That way, it's nice and managed. Because if you do have the collar sticking out, it can look goofy as hell. This just locks everything in position. If you are wondering what he looks like with the grenades in though, What do you know? Great minds think alike, because I was as well. The grenades are real metal, so they droop down just a touch, but to me, that makes it more accurate, because in real life, grenades are heavy, so they would sag down. You do also have a teeny tiny hook up the top, so if you don't want him holding the ring, you can hook it on there. And that means when you have the jacket closed, everything should, fingers crossed, sit well. Now, this side is a little bit more bulky, because these grenades are quite big, but I don't know. If you want to have him standing there about to show the grenades and have them just sitting in the coat waiting in the wings, you can absolutely do that. While we're here, just for a second, I do want to address the magnetic wrist pegs, because some people are a little bit confused. Now, they are magnetic, you can see the magnet at the tippity top, but the magnets aren't the main connection method, they're just there for some extra insurance. Because when you pop them on, you can see they're a little bit loosey-goosey. Some people are saying, why aren't the magnets stronger? Totally understand, but it's not the way they were designed. They were designed with this little peg down below doing most of the heavy lifting. It thickens up the overall wrist peg, so when you push it on, it is very secure. If you are wondering, oh no, now you can't rotate the hand independently of the wrist peg. Well, it's not actually a key, it's just a slightly thicker peg. So when you rotate it, you can rotate the hand freely. And as you just saw, it's on there very securely. Hopefully that all makes sense. There are magnets there, they're not super strong. The main connection method is friction. That's why I wanted to wait a little bit to do this video, so that any lingering questions from the 2-pack review I could answer here, and that was one of them. He does have a proper metal chain up top that is hooked onto one of his belt loops and tucked into his pockets. You can of course adjust it around the front if you want it to be more visible. His pants are pinstripe and they fit the body well and they break at the perfect length. He also has some real fabric socks with this checkered pattern that looks pretty spot on to the movie. For those worried about how the ankle connectors are going to hold up, don't be. On both of my copies, they are super tight. You can literally hear them creaking. So, in the display, I don't think we're going to have any Michael Jackson poses with him leaning forward, although the shoes are slightly rounded and the magnets are in the middle, because if they were at the back, he would be pulled backwards, and if they were at the front, he would be pulled forwards. So when you have him on the base, make sure the feet are sitting nice and flat, because, like I said, magnets in the middle. The texture for the leather grain on the shoes, on point. The stitching, the laces, this detail on the side, beautiful. There are multiple layers of paint and some washes in the crevices. Plus, on the underside, the soles are nice and smooth. For those wondering what he looks like without these layers on though, I know, we're only midway, but I don't know, this is kind of a cool display option. It's something different and something that we don't see super often. Not accurate to the movie, but if you want him just in the grey suit jacket, this could kind of work. I am kind of worried about how challenging it's going to be to thread these sleeves back through the jackets and the jackets through the jackets, but it's a future Justin problem. We'll find out later on. Now, I have only attached one forearm because I want to show you how to do the other. It's not super easy, but not super challenging either. Now, the cuff is held together with a teeny tiny little metal clasp. As you can see, there's a little prong and on the other side a receiver. Some people have said, what the hell, INART, why didn't you use press studs? Well, press studs work for thicker areas, like this vest, but on teeny tiny areas like this shirt cuff, it would have been so bulky and so ugly. So yes, it is fiddly, it's a little bit trickier to work with, but it's all for the look, it just looks way better. And when you take off the jointed forearm, you expose a magnet and a post. When you pop this one on, the magnet takes over. Now, unlike the wrist peg, this magnet is a little bit stronger, but still, it's not super secure. I wouldn't hold him by this forearm. Don't worry, they're not just gonna randomly fall off. You walk into the collection room and his forearms are just sitting on the base. They are strong enough, even for some posing. You can swivel them round, they're not going anywhere. Plus, I have decided to roll the sleeves up, which you can do too, so you can expose all that seamless goodness, all the sculpted detail, and the stunning paint applications. Now, something I haven't touched on yet is the body. It's nice and thin and lanky, just like Joker should be. And up here at the shoulders, even without the layers on, there's some decent definition. You can see the traps and the shoulders, it looks proportionate, at least to me. Around the back, you can see the rest of the vest, plus if you want to tighten it, you totally can. It's done in this satin finish, just like a real vest. Now, I haven't quite decided yet if I'm going with or without the jackets on the sculpted hair version, but one of the benefits of going without the jacket is now you don't have any issues with collision. His hair perfectly clears the top of the vest and his collar, so for range of motion, it's been improved. Still not a huge issue with the jackets on, but something to note. He also does have those suspenders I was mentioning earlier, and around the back, it does actually work. It properly holds his pants up. So once again, if you get crazy with your posing, those suspenders, fingers crossed, should do the job and keep his pants riding at the correct height. Do let me know, which look do you prefer? With the sculpted hair version, do I go with or without the jackets? For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, Sculpted Hair Joker by INART, and on the right, Rooted Hair Joker, also by INART. Now, I selected the Joker that matches this one best, same head sculpt, same body, same outfit. The only difference is one has rooted hair and the other doesn't. Now, there is a 2-pack version of the sculpted hair, so if you are missing that slightly smirking head sculpt, you can get it with sculpted hair, you just gotta get the 2-pack, not the single version. I don't want to overcomplicate anything, there are 3 versions: sculpted hair 2-pack, and the rooted hair 2-pack. Pretty simple. Now, on the right, we have the DX11. Before you comment, just not a fair comparison, how dare you, there are so many years between them. I know, DX11 is old, he's tired, but it's still a worthwhile comparison, because up until this INART Joker, the DX11 was the best on the market, a grail for a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure those same people, they would want to see this comparison. DX11 is shorter, his outfit is very poorly tailored by today's standards, maybe it was good for back in the day, and his proportions are kind of funky. His shoulders are lost within all of that mass of different jackets and shirts and all the layers, so yes, I do give the win to INART. I did stumble across a thread online recently where someone said, what the hell? The DX11, if you futz it, it looks just as good as the INART Joker, fresh out of the packaging. While that may be the case, sit down and think about what you're saying. You're pretty much saying that if you spend hours futzing with the DX11 with tweezers and messing around with its outfit to get it to look perfect, it can only ever look as good as the INART figure on its worst day, fresh out of the packaging, no futzing whatsoever. So for me, I don't really see that as a win at all. For DX11, I mean. Of course, INART does take the win. Now, INART is a little bit taller than DX19, but not overly so, because if you take into account his ears on that gorgeous custom OT Customs cowl, then the height to me looks about right. So that means if you have a newer Dark Knight Batman being DX19, the scale is on point. Whereas with DX12/Armory Batman, it doesn't work as well. Joker is potentially a little bit too tall. For those screaming at your monitors saying, yes, I wanted INART to fail, thank goodness they have. No, they haven't. Yes, he's taller than this version of Batman, but this Batman is retro, he's old now. I would much rather INART go with the slightly larger, more accurate, true to 1/6 scale size they've gone with here, cause that means compared to modern Hot Toys figures, it works a hell of a lot better. So even though he is potentially a little bit too tall, could you do this? Yeah, in a pose in an interrogation scene, this could still work. For a much closer up zoomed in comparison, still not a fair comparison. Yes, I know it isn't. The Hot Toys is significantly older. We already discussed all that. But the INART one, I think, is just way better. The DX11 had its time in the sun. It was the ultimate Joker for a really long time. But it's time to give up your crown, DX11. INART, I think, is just superior. The hair looks better, it's more accurate in color, and it's a lot fuller. We still retain the moving eyes, but the skin texture, the paint applications, and the likeness, plus even the expression, they're worlds apart. I give it to the INART through and through. Ooh, now it's getting interesting. INART versus INART, sculpted versus rooted, the age-old debate. For me, I prefer the rooted. It just feels like that next step, the evolution in 1/6 scale figure making, truly next level. Whereas the sculpted hair one feels more traditional. Now, the underlying sculpt, the moving eyes, it's all the exact same, it's just the hair that's different. But please, weigh in down below. Which do you prefer, rooted or sculpted? Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball joint down below, and it's held on with a magnet. Looking forward to there, going back to there, hindered by the multiple layers. Makes sense to me. Swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, going forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, plus a hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward and back, swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, ratcheted double bend at the knee going way past 90, and a double ball peg for the ankle for forward and back, side to side pivot and swivel. Wrapping up on the single pack sculpted hair Joker from The Dark Knight by INART in 1/6 scale. Justin, how does it compare to the prototype you've made us wait till the end of the video? Yes, I know, I'm sorry. I reckon this guy is even better than the prototype. I love that early look, but this final product, it has delivered the goods, no problem whatsoever. The magnets work, the base is awesome, the accessories are fantastic, there's real metal, there's moving parts and pieces, the outfit, the tailoring, the way it hugs the body, the custom body, the seamless forearms. You can see where I'm going, I'm very impressed. It kind of feels like that logical next step of, where do you go after Hot Toys? Hot Toys are already very realistic. Well, the answer is this guy. You've got moving eyes, you've got incredible multi-layered sculpted hair, you've got those seamless forearms, and the magnets throughout. A really nice touch, they make me so very happy. But the other question is, which way do I go? Sculpted hair or rooted hair? I don't want to take anything away from this figure. If you have this guy on pre-order, you should be so freaking excited. But in the same vein, if you're worried that spending more on the rooted hair version wasn't going to be bang for your buck and worthwhile, it is. That figure is truly a sight to behold, as is this one in its own way. Whereas this guy feels a little bit more traditional, still with a bunch of innovations that make the purchase that bit more worthwhile. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.